Thumbs up that we're all right. Hello and welcome. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here in the room, and all of you out there joining us via Crowdcast. Really great pleasure to celebrate the publication of Have You Ever by Hannah Lenzo, which is the first publication in the LOTUS Untold Stories Chapbook series. Woo. My name is Mike Wendt. I'm the program director here at Woodland Pattern. I'd like to begin with a land acknowledgement and say that in Milwaukee we live and work on traditional Potawatomi, Ho-Chunk, and Menominee homelands along the southwest shores of Michigami, part of North America's largest system of freshwater lakes where the Milwaukee, Menominee, and Kinnickinnic rivers meet, and the people of Wisconsin's sovereign Anishinaabe, Ho-Chunk, Menominee, Oneida, and Mohican nations remain present. We further acknowledge the grave evil colonialism introduced to these lands through genocide as well as slavery, but also via racist and xenophobic beliefs, laws, and practices that continue to inflict harm upon Black, brown, and indigenous lives. We honor those who have lived and who do live now at these intersections of identity and experience and are committed to the active dismantling of white supremacy. Once again, thank you all so much. A huge thanks to you, Hannah, for celebrating your chapbook here with us, and to all at Lotus Legal, who we've had the great pleasure to partner with on a number of occasions throughout the years for a variety of events, and in addition to the amazing work you all are doing, have been generous supporters of Woodland Pattern, so it's really wonderful. Special thanks to Austin Reese, Director of Survivor Empowerment at Lotus Legal Clinic, for all that you've done to organize this event. And I'll turn things over to Austin in a moment, but thank you, Austin. And I also want to say thanks also to Alice Ladrick and Johnny Lohr of Adjunct Press, who published the chapbook, and Adjunct Press. I don't know, it's just really wonderful. It's like a coming together of some of our favorite Milwaukee organizations and humans, and so this is a wonderful occasion in that regard. Okay, I hope that you'll join us this fall back here. This is the first event for our fall season, so we've got a whole bunch of other stuff coming up. We have our print newsletter at the front, and of course you can find us online. And while you're up at the front getting your print newsletter, you can also purchase a copy of Have You Ever? So. And okay, yes, and now it is my great pleasure to turn things over to Austin Reese, who is, again, Director of Survivor Empowerment at Lotus Legal Clinic, and someone who's been just a longtime supporter and friend of ours here at Woodland Pattern. Austin will share some information about the chapbook series, about Lotus Untold Stories, and we'll introduce Hannah. So welcome and thanks, Austin.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Mike, and everybody at Woodland Pattern. It's just such a pleasure to be here, and this space is really sacred, and thank you for that. And I'm going to definitely echo some of the things that Mike said, for sure. Yeah, on behalf of everyone at Lotus Legal Clinic, I want to say welcome to all of you here tonight for this very special event, the launch of Hannah's first published book of poetry. This year marks the first year of Lotus's new Untold Stories chapbook series that aims to publish outstanding collections of poetry by alums of the Untold Stories program in collaboration with Adjunct Press. And certainly a special thank you goes out to them. So I have to admit, I first had the idea for this book series over 2 years ago. And even then, I already had Hannah in mind to be the first poet to write the first book in the series. Thank God she said yes. Hannah said to me more than once that I might be her biggest fan. I hope I'm at least tied for first. But Hannah is brilliant, strong, curious, caring, hilarious, dangerous not to be messed with, vociferous, irreplaceable human being. And her writing, her voice, and her witness is a reflection of that. So with that, please welcome Hannah to the podium.
Thanks, everybody. I'm just going to grab this chapbook out of my purse. Along with the prop. Okay. All right, so just now at dinner, I was having dinner with my lovely parents, and I was like, this is kind of messy. I have the book, but I have like these other like scraps of paper that I'm going to be reading poems off of. And, like, And I was talking about this time in law school. I got a negative comment from a professor about my papers being messy. I was like, oh, that's bullshit. But I was like, oh, wait, now I'm doing like an artsy thing. Nobody's going to be like, your papers were messy. So, yeah, that's why I love writing poetry, because your papers can be messy and nobody cares. So, thank you, everybody, for being here, and thank you, Austin. It's funny that you're like, thank God she said yes, because I'm like, thank God you asked me. If you hadn't, I definitely wouldn't have like otherwise published a book right now. Peta, I'm just now seeing your present up here. It's so beautiful. Okay, sorry. Oh, okay. All right, time out. We're doing this. Ooh. This looks like a picture of my heart. Oh my, thank you. Wow, that's beautiful, thank you so much. So yeah, I have a little lineup of poems I'm gonna read. Some of them are from this book that everyone should buy a copy of. Okay. And the others are just not in the book, but they're on my Patreon, so everybody should subscribe to my Patreon. Yeah, just in case you want to. Okay. So I'm going to start with the title poem, Do You Ever? I was going to do like a long acknowledgments part, but then I was like, I'll just be like crying and it'll take up 20 minutes. And so just read the acknowledgments page in my book. Okay. Also, just a quick shout out to my dear friend, Mary DePasquale Burns, who designed the cover of my book. Yeah, kind of cool, right? Okay, so here's the title poem, Do You Ever? Do you ever learn a new word and you like it so much you just want to roll around in it and eat it? Do you ever have the drive to write and no matter what you try, you just can't beat it? Do you ever think, I want to let go of this role, but what if I need it? Do you ever starve your own heart and then ask with your art, what if I feed it? Feel free to make noises at the end of the poems. This next poem is called Assigned Female. I was assigned female at birth. Some medical mind was like, here's what you're worth. And then there was just a long, awkward silence. I guess nobody knew how to talk to me about gendered violence. And then I was assigned female as a toddler on many occasions. Yeah, they put me in dresses and bows for celebrations. They'd say, go be that gender in times of gendered separation. And then puberty hit. Whew, adolescence was some serious shit. Yeah, that's when I was assigned female the most. That's when my details were drowned and I learned not to boast. And I think maybe I only escaped through death. I think maybe I am a ghost. Okay, for the third poem, I'll be reading At the Doctor's Office. Disclaimer, I don't really like doctors, but I have a doctor right now who I really like, so like in case she ever sees this, Monica, this is not about you. Okay. It's about all the other doctors though. Okay, all right. Okay, so At the doctor's office. The medical model sometimes just seems to be a lot of advanced victim blaming. And a lot of the doctors I've seen have done a lot of victim shaming. They did a lot of symptom naming, treated my treatment like a song. They did a lot of syncopating. But I didn't like the beat they dropped, so I guess that's when the treatment stopped. But now I'm back at the doctor's office. Is that what this is? Not sure what to call this. But the psychosomatic always feels so fucking dramatic. We check in about my progress, but it looks like my progress is static. And sometimes you say my behavior is erratic, but really it isn't half bad. It's gotten a lot better, actually. So when I remind you, I'll remind you tactfully that you really don't have a basis to judge me, and I care more about the judgments of people who actually love me. So go ahead, you can write out more prescriptions. We can both pretend that pharmaceuticals have nothing to do with addiction. Yep, you can pill me, you can drug me, say I'm an ill me, so you can drug me, and you can bill me, but money's ugly. And me, I'm still me, and I love me. Okay, oh, thanks for clapping, everyone. So this next poem is called Where Do I Find My Peace? And this is the same poem that some of you may remember from the Rise and Thrive collaboration. Marielle Alschwang and the Visitations made this into an awesome song, so definitely check her stuff out. Just putting in a plug for Marielle, I'm a huge fan. So the song version of this poem is even better, but here's the poem version. Where do I find my peace? Where do I find my peace? In those damp, mossy parts of the woods, in the roots and the branches of the trees, in those moments when stagnant humidity is blown away by a fresh, welcome breeze, one that tickles the hairs on the backs of my knees. When I'm outside in nature, I can be, I can breathe. I feel like my real self, grounded but free. And every cell in my body trusts my breath, they trust me. And I wonder, does everyone feel this enamored of trees? Does everyone love them? Or is it just me? And this feeling I feel, it isn't just peace, it's surrender. It's being humbled by the immense beauty that this planet engenders. Don't worry, that's just a prop for a later poem. I see the towering trees, the smiling clouds, and the serene river. And my heart starts to beat faster, and my spine is all shivers. And I just want to breathe this memory in so it can flow through my bloodstream like oxygen, because this is what keeps me all the way alive. This is what I need to be free to fully thrive. I need sunshine and rain on my skin. I need to embody the body I'm in. I need forests for ease. I need water for peace. I need long walks and somewhere to swim. All right. Okay, the next poem I'm going to read is called Truth is Freedom. I'm just going to, there we go, and drink a little bit of my kombucha. Thanks for showing up to watch me drink kombucha. Okay. I'm going to do that the rest of the time. Okay, just kidding. All right. Okay, this one is, truth is freedom. What is truth? I think truth is freedom. What are words exactly? I don't know, but I do know I need them. I know that words are challenges and words are choices, and what's heard in the balance of it all is our voices. And what do these intricate visions mean? I don't know yet, but I know that I see them. And why are all these stories still trapped inside me? I don't know, but I do want to free them. And why do I deny myself self-reliance? Why do I tell myself, no, don't even try this? Why do my circumstances seem to stay the same, even though, circumstantially, I say I want to change? Why do I avoid my own truth? I don't even want to name it. I'd rather name a larger structural problem, like the patriarchy, and then blame it. But the sins of the patriarchy live within me, and through the hate and the brain fog, I still see what these sins see. The truth might be disguised, it might be veiled, but just thinly. And these lies make poor disguises. They make me dizzy as they spin me. And so I sigh. I am floored. I am fried. Maybe if I gamble on myself, I can win me? Yeah, maybe I can win me. See, I've been super stressed, but I've also been super blessed. And I don't want to take it for granted. I don't want to do any more damage with my silence and my missing words. I guess my praying and wishing can't always be heard, at least not by everyone. So I need to share myself for my work to be done. So here comes all the truth. You want to read what I wrote? You can read it. And you, what do you write? Where's your fire and what do you feed it? What seeds are you sowing and how do you seed it? What keeps you from growing and why do you need it? Why do you need it? Oh my gosh. Every time you guys clap, I'm like, oh, for me? Okay, cool. All right. Aww. Okay, so this one is like difficult to read and vulnerable, but somehow it makes it feel better to say that first. I don't know why. I mean, I love reading this one and I don't feel vulnerable at all. It's very easy. Just rolls right off the tongue. Okay, cool. That's partially true. I've read it a lot of times, so I like kind of know the words by now. A little bit. And I've got all my crystals on because Mercury's in retrograde. Okay. All right, now I'm going to be serious. All right, this is called What I Would Say to You If I Ever Saw You Again. Also, I wrote this at a time when I was like very angry and there was a lot of emotion, so just know that I'm like doing better now. I have my moments. And it's also in 3 parts. I'm not really sure why, but I'll just let you know, like part 1, part 2, part 3. Cool. Okay, yeah, back to the, it's called What I Would Say to You If I Ever Saw You Again. Part 1. Hi, do you remember me? Do you remember how you befriended me? How you told me with you was the safest place to be? How you told me you were there to protect me, to keep me safe from harm, and then you enfolded me in your arms and you emboldened me with your charms to tell you everything, bare my soul. I gave you everything you needed to gain control. You left me desperate and hungry to be made whole. You deceived me, terrified me, threatened me, abused me. There was no need for you to clarify. Your only intention was to use me, so excuse me. But don't tell me that I wanted your attention because I didn't. Not like that. And maybe I did not fight back, but was I crazy or wrong for stopping in my tracks, falling limp to your attacks every time you pulled your gun out? You know, you never seemed to run out of threats or sweat or hate or your propensity for rape or misogyny or rage. You were so quick to disengage, to be so unhuman. So if I see you again, there are some things I want to say to you. And I think I would start with something simple like, hi, do you remember me? Do you remember how you tried to end me, to kill my hope, choke my heart, extinguish my spirit? Well, you failed, motherfucker. I'll never let you near it. I hope you notice my resilience and my strength. I hope you fear it. I stayed silent for you then, but I'm speaking now, and I hope you hear it. Okay, part 2. And just to be clear, it's not really about fear. I mean, that's not why I'm here. And I guess to be fair, maybe I should ask you, where did you get your pain from? Where did you get that fucking brain from? Why did you try to give me the same one when you know how fucked up it is? What's up with this? This is not bad luck. This is intentional. Why? Why did you try to give all your sickness to me? That's not how trauma works, and I guess you only ever knew how drama works, but hopefully by now you know how karma works, because believe me, it is something I would like to see for you, but honestly, I don't even know what karma would be for you. It's hard to imagine a future that would look bright for you, a person who would want to fight for you, knowing what you've done, knowing how you use your gun. And I remember where you put me, you know. I see you now in a way I couldn't see you then, though. Because I was only 12 years old, being raped by police, being used, being sold, no escape, no relief, just your hurt and your cold. You'd bring the pain, then repeat, brought that betrayal and deceit, dumped all your shame, got your release, misplaced the blame, but now I see that you're a coward and I'm bold. and now there's nothing you can do to stop the truth from being told. And hey, you know what else? This is not my pain to hold. This did not start with me. This never should have lasted this long. You never should have passed this on. You know this shit is wrong. It does not belong anywhere in this world. There is no place for it. And even if you can't erase it, you can be a decent person and face it. But no, you never owned it. You chose to perpetuate the cycle of violence using threats and terror to ensure my silence. Well, you're welcome for the decades of compliance, but fuck this. I'm done being silenced by your gun and your power and your body and your badge, your car that's part cage, your white male mediocrity turned to rage, your vacant soul and your evil racist heart. If you tried to have empathy, where would you even start? And I don't want your fake apologies. I would prefer the sinking sorrow, please, the sharp and suffocating grief, because at least it's true and at least it's real. And I hope maybe now you kind of get how I feel. I hope you know that I'm angry, but I still want you to heal. Part 3. But before you start focusing on your mental health, about those things you gave me that you should have kept to yourself, all that pain and trauma, sexual abuse, all that shame, self-loathing, drug and alcohol abuse, the depression, the anxiety, all the wounded, painful parts of me, the humiliation and subjugation, the constant and intentional dehumanization, the paranoia, fear, mistrust, the rage that I'm left with, all these things that I've kept with me, the trauma that lives in my body, the way I internalized how you thought of me, the way you just never gave a fuck, the image of those bodies in your pickup truck, the memory of being blindfolded, my wrists in cuffs with a gun in every orifice of my body. Hey, how about now? Do you remember me? The way you used to chain me to a bed and tell the men to hit me in the head if I didn't listen, but never in the face. No, because you never wanted to leave a trace. But wait, you're a cop. So of course you know how to cause pain, but not bruises. You're a conniving, state-sanctioned pain enthusiast. Sorry, well, not sorry, but back to that list. I said trauma, right? Did I say PTSD, rapid heartbeat and sweating every time I see police? Did I tell you how sometimes I just freeze? And then I'm angry, trying to breathe deep, fucking counting to 10 because you're so abusive, I have to be so fucking zen? Did I say trust issues and drug use? Did I say being a social recluse, being shamefully dependent on medication? The constant sense of fear and trepidation? Did I mention the dearth of dopamine and the missing motivation? Right. So take all the things I just listed and all the other ways you've torn apart my existence, all the nausea, vomiting, night terrors, panic attacks, all of that shit. Yes, all of that. Here's the list. You can have it. You can have it all back. If I saw you, I think I'd say something like that. Whew. All right. Thanks, everybody. Okay, so I don't know, I might make this too long, but I had a list that was alternates, and I want to read both the ones that were in my alternate. I'm just gonna do them both. Okay, cool. All right, cool. All right, so there's a lot more poems. Hold on to your umbrellas, everybody. Okay. What? What? Anyway, all right, this next poem is called, hold on, I gotta fan myself. Okay. All right, I'm ready. All right, no, I'm not. Okay. Sorry, reading that one poem is like a little bit of a workout. All right, a hit workout. All right. The next poem is called Fade Into My Heart Place. By the way, am I too loud? How's the volume? Oh, great. All right, cool. All right, so fade into my heart place. I'm not responsible for what comes up for other people when they are around me. I'm not responsible for how they receive the energy that surrounds me. So maybe I can be done apologizing for my existence now. Maybe I can do something besides run, figure out a way to exist somehow. And how to be accountable to myself first and then to everybody else. No matter how insurmountable the odds may seem in relation to my mental health, I could do it. I could just be myself. I could just say yes. Be intimidated by my narration of dates, places, time, space, and events. Yes, be intimidated by that angry poem I wrote about your disgraced face all encased in cement. What did I title it again? Oh yeah, Portrait of an Expired Cop. How far does my unbridled rage extend? Oh, I don't know, but I can't seem to get these fires to stop. So I'm sorry if something uncomfortable comes up for you when you hear my words. And it's unfortunate if your fortune is to sit with the discomfort you feel about what you heard, but you can handle it. You'll be okay. You can take a little damage, man. You can manage it. This pandemic renders some magic hazardous, and the hazards we surrender to are so hard to make magic with. What I've been given, what I'm holding, it's so hard to make magic with. See, I've got the ingredients for a tragic shift. Can I trade these in for some new materials, please? Might I exchange this anxiety for ease? And can I trade in this heartache for courage and love? Can I fade into my heart place, though I'm hurt and I judge? And maybe I can just be my whole, actual, factual, based in reality, not as seen on TV, me, myself. Because maybe I'm done living behind these walls all alone in my home with this strange, surreal quality it can feel like hell. When I stagnate and self-isolate, I notice that I lose focus and I don't feel so well. And when I care too much about what other people think, I don't heal so well. And when I censor myself and I shrink, I don't deal so well. I feel small, and so then I feel angry. People tell me, calm down, and I tell them, bitch, make me. If I get too loud, will they reject me? Will they hate me? Will they shoot me? Will they sedate me? I hold on to my ego and berate me. My mind is always online, working overtime, putting words in rhymes and thinking thoughts to pass the time, but when it becomes consumed by anxiety, I don't recognize it. I'm like, whose mind is this? Is it mine? And should I just pretend to my friends that I'm okay? Should I just tell myself, Hannah, just don't say anything except I'm fine? But when I ask too many questions, I'm building a mountain of worries I can't face and won't face. So sometimes I need to just quiet my mind, take some time to just breathe and fade into my art space. Start writing, keep breathing, keep trying, and let myself fade into my heart place. Okay. All right. This next poem is called Why Did I Come to This Planet Again? Relatable, right? Okay. So I know I'm on some type of earthling mission. I can see it, barely, through my murky earthling vision. I can be it, rarely. There are times when I feel like I'm doing what I came here to do. And then there are times when I'm blind to my purpose, so I push myself the furthest, but I end up in the same fear as you. And my pain is as clear as truth. And in vain I search for the clearest proof, the clearest signs that I'm on the right path, that I'm fighting only as hard as I need to fight back, that I remain focused on healing, that I'm feeling my feelings and not fleeing them, that I'm addressing the barriers to my healing instead of just not seeing them. So, are the signs there? Will I notice them? Does my mind care? I start getting lost in the shadows of my inner thoughts, and my heart bears the cost. It beats out art and my skin is hot. I'm sinking into myself and there's nothing to hold on to. I could just let myself sink, but I don't want to. I feel panicked, a bit manic, I'm frantic, and then I ask myself, why did I come to this planet again? I'm still, I am thinking, all I move is my breath, eyes unblinking. Did I come here to fix something that was broken? Did I come here to speak all the words I think need to be spoken? Oh, maybe I came here just to dance, or to test some untested circumstance, to fight injustice, to organize, to take a firm stance. Did I come here just to write? Because I didn't come here just to fight. Did I come here to rest? Because that would be kind of ironic. Did I come here just to do my best? My best might be pretty iconic. All right, just sweating my earlobes off up here. The temperature is fine, it's just my nerves. Okay, all right, cool. Okay. All right, so the next poem I was gonna read is, it's another doozy, both emotionally and with the number of words involved. And it's called Unimaginable. And I'm gonna need a sip of kombucha before. Also, like, I'm not a paid sponsor, but this is the best kombucha ever. Maybe I have a chance to become a paid sponsor. I hope they see this. I'm gonna like tweet them afterward. Anyway, okay. All right. So here's the poem. Also, disclaimer about this one. Again, I wrote this several years ago when I was in a very dark place. I'm doing much better now. So much so that I can like read this and I'll make more jokes afterwards. So just hang on to your umbrellas, as the saying goes. We made that up tonight. Thanks, everyone. And and for those of you who didn't bring an umbrella, I'm so sorry. It's gonna rain. All right. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is called Unimaginable, and an earlier version of myself who was a bit more bitter dedicated it to everyone who said to me, I don't know and I can't imagine what you went through, what you're going through. I wrote this list to help you imagine. Or maybe to vicariously traumatize you? I'm not sure. Okay, all right. Okay, so I'll just read it. It is what it is. Number 1. You don't know this, but they used to lock me in a metal box, and sometimes I was so exhausted that I could sleep somehow, even with a gun in my mouth. And I wake up tasting metal now, and I know exactly why I can't settle down. I know exactly why I'm still not better now. I know exactly why my head is still down. And I'm sorry if I sound repetitive now, but in my mind, I'm still stuck in fetters unfound. In my brain, it is cluttered and bittered and loud. It's crowded, riddled with questions, littered with sounds full of commotion, full of unfinished poems whose endings flit and flutter around like little lost, tattered clouds full of emotion. While all kinds of lines and rhymes disappear alongside brain cells like cypress trees lost to coastal erosion. And I try to find a new mind that shines like a sea with no microplastics, some boastful new ocean. And I'd find time to write more journals and rhymes if I could also find the right pill or potion. I'd write about all the crimes committed against me. I'd be venting non-defensively, detailing my feelings extensively if I could just get my thoughts to stop always restlessly being in motion. 2. You don't know this, but they used to make me get on my hands and knees in front of them so they could rest their feet on me like I was an ottoman. And after all these years, I still haven't forgotten them. I was inundated with fear, but still I thought I could soften men. If I could understand it, make it clear, I thought maybe I could stop it then. But then morosely I'd regain consciousness, and there were the cops again. And I was a ghost, I was so shaken up, but mostly I felt there was no stopping them. 3. You don't know this, but sometimes I'm still hopeless. Endlessly seeking a remedy to rescue me, a cleanser to clean out the trauma that festers in me. When you look closer, you'll see that lonely, friendless me, begging it not to bring stress to me or mess with my sleep or sequester me. But when I try to sleep, I still have these heart-stopping hypnagogic hallucinations, which tonight, if I'm lucky, won't lead to suicidal ideation. I'm feeling like my suffering is of my own creation, and in the context of healing, it's just feeling like stagnation. My peace perpetually stolen, replaced by fear and agitation. And I'm frozen, counting the seconds, trying to reconcile myself with my desire for self-annihilation, and it's usually the same bullshit. Very terrifying, but there's very little variation. And then I'm lying in bed thinking, wait, why didn't my imagination come up with some kind of cover story? Why didn't my mirthless, merciless mind even attempt to fucking cover for me? Yes, the self-blame slithers in the same way every time. The unhealthy shame I live in sends shameful shivers down my spine, and I can live with it. I can sit with it. I can name it. I know it's mine. But if I sit alone and hide it, it's just hidden. It's not subsiding. It's still living within me whenever I'm alive, and it's still sickening to me, even though I survive it because it's wicked, it's looming, and it won't allow me to fully thrive yet. 4. You don't know this, but one of the men who paid the cops to rape me, yes, the same cops who still get paid today to stop the raping, once held me by my ankles over the edge of a hotel balcony and asked me, do you want to fucking die? And I just held my breath and dangled there like, go ahead, let go, I don't care. Drop me, watch me, I'll fucking fly. And the only thing I remember actually feeling when I was hanging there, upside down, alternating between dissociating and estimating the space between my head and the ground, was the blood snaking down my back, slow red trickles from fresh rectal tears. There was a bug on my face, that's why I stopped. Okay. Silently making their way towards my neck. I felt no pain, no stress, no disrespect. I didn't care, didn't look below me, didn't think about death. And here's how it goes. Because I buried it then, it finds me in dreams now, it gives me panic attacks. And here's what I know. As it was, I couldn't carry it then, but I carry it now. It is here, it is back. Okay. 5. You don't know this, but I've been raped thousands of times, and now I'm up late writing thousands of lines about it, trying to reprogram my mind about it, trying to reclaim my pride around it, trying to refrain from the lying that surrounds it. I'm trying to stay sane, bear the daily trauma that compounds it. It confounds me, but even when I'm drowning in it, I never quit. You know, I still see a shrink every other week for almost an hour, and I ask him, why do you think I'm still so afraid of my personal power, and how can I start healing from it when I feel like I'm still reeling from it? I'm still so hypervigilant and feeling quite like a hypocrite for withholding forgiveness as I sit here getting older, yet I can barely bear to live with this. I'm still scared to confront it, regressing to a place where I can't face it, so I just try to outrun it. But it's always there. I'm never done with it. It's in my breath. I feed my lungs with it. Okay, had to do a little pre-fan on that one. All right, number 7. Nope, number 6. You don't know this, but when you tell me, your trauma doesn't define you. I want to invite you to visit the hell inside me and let my physiology remind you that you really have no place in crafting the complexities of someone else's definition, and you really could show some grace and respect by not trying to define someone else's condition. I genuinely don't need anyone to tell me about what it's like to be in my position or to decide for me what defines me. How about you let that be my decision? 7. You don't know this, but I'm confused about justice. I don't know how to view it as something I must get. And my feelings about it are inconsistent, ranging from rage to indifference, from bravery to resistance. Yep, some days I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna get on Twitter and tweet it to the FBI. And other days I'm like, fuck, I should have kept it inside me till the day I died. Damn, I should have hidden it. I'm so stupid, I should have lied. 8. You don't know this, but some days I'm all scraped soul and enervated essence. I've got this gaping hole of escaping light in my spirit, so weary from losing luminescence. I've got a weighty growing list of waking nights, and lately I'm growing sick of faking politeness. I might be great at showing grit, though I show up late and I feel like shit. I let my mistakes show, but I still show up despite this. So if you don't fucking like this, or you don't think I wrote the right list, or if you're averse to curse words or terse words or disjointed, unrehearsed words, then you're probably pissed about this recursive list and every verbose verse you've heard, every single subversive word. And if I've caused you harm, I'm sorry. That's never my intent. But if all I've caused is discomfort, I apologize 0%. Oh my gosh, thanks for all the applause, guys. All right, so this next poem, it's much more lighthearted. I'm like, I know you guys are all, I'm freaking out. So rest days are the best days is the next one, and it's why I brought the prop. Okay. All right, rest days are the best days, and indeed they really are. Here we go. Oh, hi. I'm just lying here fanning myself with a fan I got at the dollar store that says, blessed on it. And I've got a whole plan and strategy outlined for myself, and it's just a piece of paper that says, rest on it. And even when I do my best, I'm admonished, by myself mostly. And even when I'm stressed, I'm still honest. But sometimes I'm mean to myself and I roast me. And I always seem to go for dudes who want to ghost me. That's weird. Well, maybe sometimes I'm doing the ghosting. And sometimes I underestimate myself grossly, but that's fear. And if you want to know what I have stress hormones over here. I have a surplus of cortisol and a surplus of thoughts. I'm often adrenalized, though sometimes I'm not. And I can be moody and temperamental, and so the rudeness is just incidental. And sometimes I get activated, and then I get hyperactive, and I'm not gentle. And I give myself bruises when I dance. It's transcendental. And I outlive my excuses. I forgive all my muses. And my imagination plays with music. And my mind just gets in the way and tries to confuse it. And I'm trying to find the words to say that these bruises, these marks on my arms, they're not from self-harm. It's just, I'm excited, ignited, enthused. It's just that I'm an enthusiastic dancer. But I'm talking too fast. I'm all pressured speech and linguistic overreach, and I can tell my dog is getting overwhelmed, so I give him a few moments of silence. And I'm like, hey, sorry if I overwhelmed you. But he sighs at my apology like, dude, I don't buy this. He gives me a look like, now's a good time for you to rest in stillness. This is why I like dogs. They give me helpful tools to work with instead of just judging me for my mental illness. And so I say to him, you know what, Hunter? I think words, our feelings, are human beings. And I can tell by the look on his face that he knows what I mean, that he is seeing what I am seeing. And with his eyes, he tells me, hey, you need rest. And I say, yes, I know, that's how it seems. I suppose I'll rest, do some yoga, and maybe I'll write a poem tonight called I Am From My Dreams. So side note, I later wrote a poem that same day called I Am From My Dreams, and then I went back and edited the first poem. Like, I didn't actually plan to write it, so yeah, now you know the truth. But I wrote this in a fundraiser, a yoga writing fundraiser that my little sister Olivia invited me to. And we all did yoga together and then wrote poems together, and this is the poem that came out of that. So just next time you're invited to a yoga poetry fundraiser, fucking show up. Like, you just do it. You might come up with a good poem. It's the moral of that story. All right. I am from my dreams. There's a hillside that leads to a forest that I've only ever seen in my dreams. And through the forest, there are mossy rocks and clear, tender flowing streams. And a winding path covered in mossy stones. I am from this path. I can feel it in my bones. When I take myself there in my mind, I can settle in if I let myself smell what I'm in. The olfactory sense bends space and time. I smell outer space. I smell stardust and rhymes. And there's no sense of time, just these mossy stones that feel like perfection. I feel the stream on my feet, and it soothes my heartbeat. I feel ease. I feel peace. I feel home. I feel spiritual connection. I feel the purest intentions. I want to feel those mossy stones between my toes. I want to breathe that pure, untainted air. I want to feel the sun there. I haven't seen it in real life, but when I'm there, I'm more alive, and I think I'm from there. All right. Don't worry, guys. There's only a few more poems. And then you can stop holding on to your umbrellas. Finally. Okay. All right. So the next one I'm going to read is called Self-Fulfilling Prophecies. And anytime I read this poem, I kind of like to think of it as like I'm manifesting as well. So like, if you're so inclined, feel free to manifest with me. Okay. Self-fulfilling prophecies. Sometimes I find myself at home on a twisted staycation, just me and my self-fulfilling prophecies. My inner demons loom as I mope from room to room. I bring my fears and my doubts and my thoughts with me. I'm all caught up in my anticipatory grief, but I don't even know what the loss will be. I'm frantically panicking, I'm erratic, mismanaging, not aware of what the cost will be. I'm sucked into a vacuum of catastrophizing and crying. Something shifts internally, I get lost with me. I avoid my own heart and I'm full of false starts. I live inside my thoughts because my feelings are too raw for me. And my fear of the unknown, well, it's been ignored, so it's festered and grown. Whatever tragedy I face, well, that's what I saw for me. I let them ravage my inner space, but now I want all of me. So I tell my fears that I'm sorry for the years when I ignored them and let them expand. And after all these years stagnating inside my fears, I still haven't met their demands. And now it is me who needs to expand. Now it is me who makes demands. What, I'm a diva now if I take command? As for me, I don't think it's wrong to fully own your commanding presence. Why not be fully me? Why not set myself free? It's time to expand past my reticence. I've been procrastinating. I've been hesitant. I've been putting energy into the same self-fulfilling prophecies for far too long. And now that I'm starting to see just how powerful my thoughts can be, I don't let them get too strong. And I'm working on helping my heart, mind, and spirit all get along. I'm working on embracing connection, being in those spaces where I feel I belong, those spaces where I walk in and my anxiety's gone, where I can breathe out my fears like they're songs. Yeah. How about a self-fulfilling prophecy where I get what the fuck I want? How about less mental energy spent on pondering what I'll do if I don't? How about allowing myself to visit I will instead of staying stuck in I won't? My new prophecy, my life gets better every day. Yes, I believe it. I know it. You could sweat this much just from reading. Well, Olivia's like, I did. Okay. So, all right. The next poem I'm going to read is called, you know what? I kind of want to, put that one at the end. I'm switching things up. Ooh. All right. I'm getting crazy. Mercury's in retrograde. Watch the fuck out. Okay. So I'm going to skip ahead, and then I'm going to go back to that one, because it just seems like a nice one to end on. All right, so I'm going to read a few that are not in the book, and then I'll go back to the book. Keep holding on to your umbrellas. All right. This one is called Don't Kiss Me. And I wrote this as part of my writing group called Memoirs, and it was writing a prompt about a quote from Anita Krizan. So it starts with a quote. Maybe you'll get that from how I'm reading it, but in case you couldn't, now you'll know for sure. Okay, don't kiss me. Don't kiss me if you're afraid of thunder. My life is a storm. Whew, don't kiss me indeed. I guess Anita Krizan was probably writing about herself, but she could have been writing about me. Sometimes my stormy, non-normative life makes intimacy hard to seek or find. And sometimes I'm too caught up in gender performance to truly speak my mind. I don't fit into boxes. When I find a boat, I rock it, and then my doubts creep up from behind. And the overarching messages I get from this world say I should be meek, just accept the grind. So do I rely on sleep to disconnect my mind? Do I try to keep the scraps of love that I find? Or should I just tell the whole world, don't kiss me? Should I tell the love that tries to find me, just miss me? And don't expect to be embraced by me if you won't embrace my identity. And don't expect when you're faced with me that I'll accept your stated intent to be a friend to me. Let me ask you, what type of friendship might this be? The type where I'm cherished or where I'm never really seen? Sometimes friendships can turn really mean. Sometimes endings are only sad because of what might have been. But there's a difference between what could be and what is. There's a difference between dreams and potential and this. It's a strange place to be when it's potential that you miss. So if you wouldn't want to change places with me, don't give me a kiss. If you don't want to get near my wild and stormy life, don't ask me for my lips, my body for one wild and stormy night. Just don't kiss me. Okie dokie, here we go. All right, so this next poem is called I Would Tell You, and it's kind of like an angry breakup poem, which I have a lot of, but I really toned it down for tonight. I was like, I'm just gonna read one. Everyone will think I'm way less whatever than I am. So here we go. If you subscribe to my Patreon, there's lots of this. Okay, Thanks, Olivia. Vouching for me. All right, so yes, this is called I Would Tell You. I would tell you how I feel if I thought that you would listen. You promised to be honest, but all you were was inconsistent. I care too much, now the care is spent, dude. I don't resent you, I'm indifferent. And you choose drugs with such persistence, and I don't judge you, it makes no difference. And I still love you, just from a distance. And if you come at me with anger, the most you will get is a conversation. If you look for me, you'll see me, breathing easy, calm, and patient. And what would I tell you? I guess I would tell you this. Don't expect from me a hug or a poem or a kiss. Right now and right here, my solitude is bliss. And me, I'm spending time with someone I've missed. Who is it? You want to know? It's myself. I'm ending wastes of my time, and I'm pissed about the impact on my psyche and my mental health. What else would I tell you? This. Love can be unconditional, but relationships, they cannot. And I hope you remember this line in this poem, lad, long after I'm just another bitch you forgot. I'm calm when you're gone, when I'm with you, I'm not. And I think we both know that tempers run hot, and I think we both know who would win if we fought. Do you think about that? I think about it a lot. Sorry, that one just makes me laugh because it makes me sound like I'm going to beat you up, but I won't. Anyway, all right. This little poem that I've got written on it, whatever. It may be missing some words, but we're just going to go with it. And it's called How Far. Sometimes my vision is clouded, my innocence shrouded. I'm bitter and loud, and I skitter about like a sad witch who's lost her way, trying to sandwich too much into one day. And my pride is too loud, I can't hear what you say. My insides are too proud, I get in my own way. And if I give in to lit today, well, where does that leave me tomorrow? I think there's no time left to borrow. Pen and ink will relinquish my sorrow. Its swimmers sink, but my pride isn't borrowed. And the tide isn't far, so let's be alive and see how far our far goes. Okay, now I'm finally concluding this. You can get ready to let go of your umbrellas after this one. It's called The Life of a Poem. And it just feels right now in this moment like a good one to end on. So here it comes. The life of a poem. It doesn't have to own real estate in order to have a home. It can live anywhere because it's a poem. Its words are always with each other, so they're never alone. It always holds itself together because it's a poem. It can't be too short and it can't be too long. It can be conceived but not aborted, and it can't be right or wrong. It's not a drug, you can't snort it, but you can drink it like a song, and you can think about it all night long because it's a poem. Yep, it's a poem. It's just words strung together, right? Its songs are hurts sung together at night, and it can't be too loose or too tight. If it holds you just right. It can soothe you or inspire you, and it might trigger you or tire you. It kind of takes on a life of its own. And it's kind of a wild ride to witness something so alive, to witness the life of a poem. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Buy my book.
God, that was amazing. Thank you, Hannah. Stick around. We have a signing table out there if you want to buy a book and get a signature from the author. And feel free to hang out a little while and mingle. So, thank you so much for being here.